Good morning from the Pura Vida Resort in Pai, Thailand. Today we woke up, we had some breakfast, and we're on our way home back to Chiang Mai. It's been truly wonderful here. I think if we come back to Pai, we definitely will stay here again. But we have about 3 hours to Chiang Mai, and it's gonna be a bit curvy. So, motion sickness medicine for Christina.
Done.
This is the last day of our Mae Hon Son trip, where we're traveling from Pai back to Chiang Mai, and I'm also gonna give you my top 10 tips for doing the Mae Hon Son loop, so stick around till the end for that. The road from Pai to Chiang Mai is one of the best riding roads you can find in Southeast Asia. It has 762 twists and turns each way, and it takes 3 to 4 hours to complete depending on your speed. Many people rent a motorbike in Chiang Mai just for this section to Pai and back without doing the entire Mae Hon Son loop. It's really that good. The road is very well maintained, but it is a steep mountain road after all, and things can happen, so be very careful. Thankfully, when something like this happens, they do fix it right away. There are 2 checkpoints along the way where you may be stopped by Thai police, so make sure you wear your helmet and have all your documents with you.
So we made it back to Chiang Mai. It's good to be home. We're just gonna unpack all our stuff and get some clothes washed, and we'll see where we go from here. The Mae Hon Son loop was awesome, and we're looking forward to do another motorbike trip.
And as promised, here are my top 10 tips for doing the Mae Hon Son loop. Starting with number 1, rent a good motorbike. Having a good motorbike will make your journey a lot more enjoyable. And if you're gonna go alone, a 125cc scooter will be fine. You don't need a big adventure bike for this. But if you're gonna have a passenger with you, I would recommend going for a 150cc or even 300cc motorbike. The place you rented for is also important. Make sure you find a place that has good reviews and has good motorbikes. I rented a motorbike once that had terrible wheel wobble over 30 kilometers an hour, which made the journey very uncomfortable and unsafe. Another important thing to know when renting a motorbike is to not leave your passport at the motorbike place. It's okay to leave them a copy and a deposit, but do not let them hold your passport because they will hold it ransom. And finally, as you are renting, take pictures or even a video of the bike as you are taking it, and make note of all the dings and scratches on it so they cannot pin it on you when you come to return it. My number 2 tip is to choose your season wisely. Thailand is a tropical country, so that means they have a rainy season and a dry season. The rainy season will last from May to October, but don't discount this period. September and October might be the rainiest months here in the north of Thailand, but you will also get lush green forests and no crowds. When it does rain in Thailand, it usually rains in the afternoon, so riding in the morning will ensure you stay dry. It will also give you more time to explore all of the hidden gems you will inevitably discover in this magnificent part of the country. Which brings me to tip number 4, plan your trip but don't commit to exact dates. Now don't get me wrong, we did plan our trip. We planned it using Google My Maps, you can find a link to it in the description below, but we made all of our reservations just 1 day in advance. We extended our stay in a couple of places that we loved, and we skipped a few that we didn't. Which brings me to my next trip planning tip, have cash on hand. ATMs can be found all over in the bigger cities, so make sure you stop by one and get some cash out, as many businesses will not accept debit or credit cards. Tip number 6 is Backlight. These small motorbikes don't have a lot of storage space. You only get the storage underneath the seat, where you will only be able to most likely fit a backpack. Speaking of packing, it's also a good idea to pack a first aid kit. Stop by a local pharmacy and buy some bandages, gauze, and disinfectant. Put them in a little bag and take them with you just in case you have a small accident while riding or exploring around the north of Thailand. Which brings me to point number 8, dress accordingly for the ride. Early mornings can be pretty chilly on the motorbike, so packing a hoodie will be a lifesaver. It's also good for windburn when riding at speed, and in my opinion, it's good to wear it in the afternoon sun as well. Wearing long sleeves in the sun will make you hot, but it will save you from getting sunburned. Tip number 9 is get an international driving permit. Without one, you run the risk of getting a fine from the Thai police. And finally, tip number 10, have some motorcycle experience. Whilst I don't think you have to be a veteran in order to attempt this trip, I don't think it's appropriate for a complete newbie either. If you have no experience riding a motorcycle or scooter, rent your bike a day early and practice a little bit. Make sure you are comfortable with a bike and all its controls, the brakes, accelerator, and so on, and look up the way a motorcycle steers, also known as countersteering. If this is the first time you hear this term, trust me, it's very strange. Watch a YouTube video on it and then practice it to make sure you are ready for when you hit the twisties up in the mountains. And that's it for our tour around the Mae Hong Son Loop. We absolutely love this trip and would recommend it to anyone. And as always, stay safe, be nice to each other, and we'll see you in the next one.